Wire.
I don't know why you're pushing the air.
We haven't even called the meeting to order yet, but I will go ahead and call the August 6th edition of the Jericho Selectboard meeting to order. As a reminder, our
Meetings are going to be more efficient. We are limiting public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The public to be heard section. Select board meetings are in the public, not of the public. Please do not use the chat on Zoom for anything other than technical issues. Please be respectful. Please keep public comments to 3 minutes or less.
Peter, are there any of these agenda items that we do want to allow public, like to drive the public comment to when we cover it, or do we want to just do all public comments in the public comment?
I wonder about the DEI, which would be a question about petitions.
Yep.
And if people maybe want to be part of that conversation, maybe.
Okay, so we'll start with public to be heard for anything on or off the agenda other than the letter from the DEI committee, which we'll take comments for during when we get to that topic. So is there any public to be heard? Well, you guys tied. Chuck, go ahead.
If you want to review, I don't need it.
I'm okay for it now. Thank you.
Not everything is
Just be glad.
incredible.
So as I've heard me say many times, for the last 50 years, since the first real exclusionary zoning, Jericho's view has been that big houses and big lots is legitimate housing, and anything else is kind of an alternative, an exception, and something that the town is entitled. Any housing for people with regular incomes, the town is entitled to really regulate extremely tightly to make sure other people aren't offended. I'm quite optimistic about some of the current proposals. We haven't seen the marked up copy yet, but I feel pretty good about a lot of what's in there. It represents a change in a point of view that did not exist when the town re-regulated the village centers. You've heard me complain about the dimensional restrictions and the tight restrictions on small-scale multifamily housing, or any housing really, particularly in Riverside. We finally have what I think is sort of an outside opinion on that, which is the new and developing Vermont 802 Homes Catalog, which is being done by the state to provide 10 housing designs, which it considers to be, and they are good designs, different sizes and shapes, which the state considers to be likely to be universally acceptable in town centers. There's 10 of them proposed that are under draft. I'm going to hearings, I'm making comments. Of the 10, 2 of them are single family homes. They would both be allowed in Riverside. Of the 8 small scale multifamily housing designs, only 1 of them would be allowed in Riverside today. This is based on my reading and my conversations with Chris Flynn. They're either too wide or too many stories or oriented the wrong direction. And to me, it's, kind of an outside view on the level of restriction that we have in Riverside. We joked for years about the ban on plastic flowers. You just put in a ban on window air conditioners in Riverside that are visible from the road. There's like that kind of stuff. And I think once we get through this, the current one, I think it's time to go back and rewrite those regulations in a way that shows some respect for people with regular and middle incomes, that they can design their own homes. I think we should do more than just barely meet the minimums that would allow these houses to be built. We have a fourplex right down the street. You probably don't even notice it. It's right next to Joe's. It's 50%, the dimensions are 50% larger than what you currently allow a fourplex to be in Riverside. It just makes no sense. It's too tight, too restrictive, and in my view, disrespectful. The Planning Commission has been studying the legalization of triplexes for going on 5 years. And my hope is that you will ask them to revise Riverside. And I think you sure want to get that done. We're trying to sell a bond, because you're not gonna be able to sell a bond if the point is housing, and if your regulations prevent 7 of the 8 small-scale multifamily housing designs being advanced by the state. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Sir, if you don't want to come up, you don't have to, but if you just state your name for the.
Sure.
You're welcome to come up if you'd like.
I'll state it from back here. My name is Gregory Carter, and I'm a member of the McGrath subdivision. I also work for Civil Engineering Associates, and wanted to let everyone here know that we've gotten our latest permit, which was our environmental permit that we received for the state from Act 250. It was our administrative amendment, and it is in my belief that it was the last permit that we needed.
I'm sorry, what? I don't know what you mean by the McGrath. Do other people know what that means?
So
Just for myself, I don't know what you mean by that.
yes, there's a neighborhood in town. It's called the McGrath subdivision.
Okay.
And it's a neighborhood that consists of 25 blocks. And we have been working with the town of Jericho for our stormwater permit, which we had to update for the 3-acre compliance.
Yep.
We received permit funding through the state to cover the costs for the design plans, the engineering design plans, and any of the permitting fees. But now that we're coming to the end of that, and Civil Engineering Associates is basically going to send out the last request for reimbursement from the state, I'm letting everybody know that we have gotten to that point. So we now, the McGrath subdivision shares its stormwater permit with the town of Jericho. So the town of Jericho and the McGrath subdivision are on the same stormwater permit. There was design plans made. The new permit was received and paid for. And in correspondence with Chris Flynn, there was no local permitting necessary to construct the stormwater design that is required to meet the permit requirements that we have. So that being said, I'm also the vice president of the McGrath subdivision, and we would like to get a meeting with the appropriate town officials to discuss the next phase, which would be construction.
Construction of whatever is being designed for you to comply with the 3-acre stormwater rules.
That is correct. I can go over what the design is quickly if you'd like. I can save that for another time.
I'd rather do it at a time when the right people are there to.
Sure. Yeah.
Have you been working with somebody in the past? I'm trying to help,
Yes.
but I don't know much about what you're saying. I know what a 3-acre stormwater is, but I don't know what to do from here. So
I worked pretty closely with John.
John
Oh,
Abbott?
yes, John Abbott.
Okay.
John Abbott informed me that he had to leave, and I worked closely with Paula.
Oh, okay.
Paula is the only connection right now between when I started with John.
Okay.
I heard through Jessica that Paula is going to be transitioning out of her role. So because of that.
Okay, let me just pause you right there. She's not going anywhere. I think
Okay.
she's probably the person for you to still do that.
Okay.
She's just not here tonight because.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I think you're still going to want to work with Paula.
Yes.
She is transitioning into the assistant town administrator
Okay.
as we hire a new town administrator, but she's going to be the one with all the knowledge for quite a while. So
Okay.
she's still, I think.
The concern was that maybe that would go away.
Yeah, no, I think you're
No.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anyhow, all the documents have been recorded
Okay.
with the town. And I was encouraged by Jessica to come and make a public comment, basically stating that we're at this point where we have all of our permits, we're ready to go into construction. Still need to be some financial considerations. One of the things that John had offered was the town highway department for anything that might happen within the public right of way. And the majority of the project is within the public right of way.
Where's the project?
So it's about halfway up Packard Road. It's off of Country View, Outlook Lane, and Vista Court.
Awesome. I think Paul's
Paul's
going to know everything, understand everything you just said.
And I've had,
won't have this blank stare that you're getting from us. If she doesn't, we'll figure it out. But I'm sure she's got it.
Yeah. I don't know if you need anything else from me, but that's really about it.
I appreciate it.
Right. So I guess the last thing is, if there's any other permits that anybody knows of, it would be great if you let us know sooner rather than later, because the window to capture the money to pay for those is going away.
That's gonna be a Chris Flynn question, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yes, and I've been in
As long as
conversation.
if Chris says you're in good shape, then I would.
Yeah, he said it. He said I am.
I would say, he's gonna know way more.
I might come up with a few more tonight that we'll toss your way. But great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Learn something new every day.
Mhm.
Any other public to be heard online in the room? Okay. First thing on the agenda is to review and consider approval of the permission to close Jericho Center Circle for the pet parade on August 8th.
Hi.
We're doing the pet parade again?
Well,
First time we'll bring out this year.
Let me just make a motion.
Yeah.
Like, I feel
Yeah,
like,
but let her,
okay.
let her,
Tell me why we have to.
we don't get to see her much anymore.
That's
Enjoy our final
Yeah.
few moments.
Yeah. So I'm Catherine Bass, and I've been working at Jericho Town Library, and we had to reschedule the pet parade from June because of inclement weather, and it's going to be this weekend, and we would like permission to close just the upper part of Jericho Center Circle.
Nothing else has changed.
No, nothing's changed.
What time are we doing it again?
10 a.m.
Everyone on the select board's pets are required. I would like to make a motion to approve permission to close Jericho Center Circle for the pet parade on August 8th.
I will second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Also, we'll miss you.
Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
see you later, but probably never again at a select board meeting.
Good choice on your part.
We try to make them fun. I do. Next on the agenda is discussion of the DRML expansion. Sharon and Abby.
It's just Abby.
Hi, Abby.
Hi, I'm Abby Heimlich. I am the new director of the Deborah Rossum Memorial Library. I was formerly the Youth Services Librarian. And we pretend this is Sharon.
Yeah.
We just wanted to come and let y'all know where we stand with our project. Let's see, I'll just read what we've got written here. I do not speak for the Board of Trustees, but that's how it's written. Board of Trustees for the Jericho Underhill Library District, or as it's commonly known, the Deborah Rossum Memorial Library, is excited to provide an update on our expansion planning. We held very well-attended meetings with residents of both Jericho and Underhill to provide insight into why we want to expand the library, as well as to review architect drawings and to get community input on our expansion project. The information is very helpful. We also hired a consulting firm, CPGE, to do a feasibility study for us on the fundraising feasibility. And what we found through their interviews with 20 individuals and business leaders in the town is that we really need to focus on fundraising and building donor relationships and managing those things. So we're not, the original timeline had us seeking a bond in 2027. That's just not going to work. We need to go back to the drawing board with our architect and based on the input that we've gotten from town members, try and scale back the plan a little bit so that it doesn't cost as much so that we won't have to bond as much and not stress out everybody in town trying to pay for this. So we're going to keep working with business leaders, community leaders. We're going to get an expansion fundraising committee going. If anybody has interest in volunteering for that, they can email director@drml.org or expansion@drml.org. We are welcoming folks who are interested in the project and want to help us out in ways with their time as opposed to their money. And we also kind of paused our movement towards a bond because we know that the town library has some funds that it needs, and we don't want to compete over the money at the same time, because it would result, I think, in a failure for both of us, which would ultimately result in a big loss for the town with their libraries. But we're going to work on what we can control, doing more community outreach, working with the architects, getting more info from folks, trying to plan some really fun fundraising ideas, and keep working on creating a library space that meets the needs of the residents of both Jericho and Underhill. That's all I have to present. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. You too.
Next on the agenda is review and consider approval of a letter from the DEI committee to request a change ballot item threshold.
And from Mayor as well.
We're not this.
Yeah, you don't look like that, but I'll believe you, you know.
Hi, I'm Sue Kasser, my colleague, Mayor. We're representing the DEI committee and asking the select board to consider changing the threshold for signatures for a petition to put an item on the ballot from 10% to 5%. And I'll provide a little historical background that was shared with me through Jessica and others. And then Bob will talk about the DEI's rationale for this request. So at a select board meeting in 2007, there was an agenda item as a follow-up to the town meeting that took place to change the threshold from 5% of registered voters' signatures to 10% for voted articles. At the time of a little context, at the time, there were only 3 select board members, and only 2 of them were at the meeting that voted unanimously to approve this. So, it's been a while, and there was few voices at the table, if you will. And it was, the rationale at that point was that it would take 10% to put non-town related business on the agenda. And there were a few issues at that time that were surfacing by certain groups, and they weren't necessarily town related items. So the select board at that time thought then they would put the onus of that onto the voters at 10%, as opposed to them using their own discretion to decide whether or not it would be an item for discussion. At that point, as you would know, it was 4 meetings, and so there was a lot of things that could be discussed at that meeting, which could be very time consuming. So the board discussed this at their 2007 May meeting, and they voted to raise the threshold from 5% to 10% of registered voters, and that the select board would waive their discretionary power and automatically add that item to the warning, the town meeting warning. A couple of points with that is, one is that there was no language in the statute that talked about what is discretionary. It wasn't operationalized, which can cause some confusion. What if the select board half wanted the item to be on the warning and the other didn't? Like, how were those decisions made if discretionary wasn't necessarily operationalized? And 10% is just unique to Jericho. So other towns surrounding are still at 5%. So it's been a long time since this was revisited. There were certain reasons that it was brought to light. There were new members on the select board committee now that weren't there when this was taking place. It is unique, and our town meeting has changed from that initial approach. So the benefits of doing that, circulating the petition just in general allows people to have an idea of what is going to be warned so that different groups can educate that and people can come with more information to know what's going to be put on the ballot. Bob's going to share something about how DEI looks at this.
Can I just read that? What's the last thing you said? You said one of the benefits is
that it would allow circulating the petition gets it out into the public so that they become more aware of the issue and there's time for people to be educated about it before they have to come and take a vote on it.
But that's not, I don't argue, I want to understand what you're saying, but that's even more apparent with 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Like 10% requires even more people to be educated. I'm not arguing against it, I'm trying to understand your point.
Yeah.
You're just saying in general petitions work to build a sense of what the question is going to be.
Correct. And then Bob's going to talk about how our group, the DEI committee, views this as something within our purview to offer as a recommendation.
Yeah, I think part of the 5% is that if something is put on the ballot at 5%, it's going to be out there in people's minds far more than just somebody still circulating a petition trying to get 10%. One of the things that the committee was looking at, we were approached by some people who wanted to talk to us about some petitions they had, and while we declined to endorse or get involved with any particular petition, we began to think about the act of petitioning itself, sort of the process. Then we did a little digging, and according to the state rules on towns and the regulations and such, this is the only town that has a 10% threshold. Everybody else has 5%. And the state regulations on it give the select board immense discretion anyway as to what they put on the ballot. It's pretty much what the select board decides. If they decide it's not relevant to the town, they can already say no. Nothing changes that.
Even with 5%?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you read the state rules on it, it's if you decide if it's either something that's not legal or is not within the town's legal authority to do, you can decide within your discretion, at least through my reading of the state rules. Again, you have a lot of discretion. The reason we would like to push the as a formal measure, to re-adopt the 5% that the rest of the state uses, is simply that more voices are better. We're at an Australian ballot now for voting. We're not taking up a lot of time on a town meeting. Even in the unlikely case that things go through, get 5%, which is a pretty high bar. I mean, we've all had people come by asking us to sign petitions. A lot of times we don't. If anybody takes the effort to do that and get 5% of the voters in Jericho, that we feel that deserves to be brought to the attention of the polity again for a vote. We don't anticipate that be a lot of folks doing it, but I think that anything that removes the obstacles real or apparent for a more diverse set of voices. It's one of the ways that people from a lot of different walks of life and a lot of different viewpoints have of trying to get issues addressed that are important to them. And again, they still have to get 5% of the voting population to sign on to it, which again, I think is a pretty decent bar against a bar the rest of the state has adopted. And so that's why we're doing it. It's not in pushing any particular petitions or opinions. It's that in general, the more voice people have and the more avenues they have to bring issues to the rest of the citizens, the better. And this is one that we feel does not really impose a burden on anybody. It returns the town to the status quo of the rest of the state and simply establishes a level playing field without impinging on the prerogatives of the select board at all. So if somebody comes up saying, something about banning Trump from landing space aliens in the Village Green or something, you can just not even bother to consider it. But there could very well be other things that are much more relevant that have been kept from coming to our attention because of the 10% limit. And that's pretty much what we're thinking.
Have you heard anecdotally that that's the case?
No, I mean, again, this is something that is more of a meta sort of thing. It's philosophical. Again, a lot of that is driven by the fact that we notice that Jericho is different from these other towns, and there's really no reason why we should have a threshold that's different from all the other towns. We're special in some ways, but I don't think we're that special. It just seems like an unnecessary additional burden, even if it's really not going to have a huge immediate impact. It sets the right tone of Jericho saying, yeah, we do want you to say things. We do want to hear your voices. Here's the procedures for it. It's the same procedure that everybody else in the state has to deal with.
I think from our committee conversations, it was around access. And if you have groups that aren't in the majority, that don't have the connections, the networking, the advocacy, the confidence to go out and get 10%, then you're not really allowing access of those voices to bring things to the table. So from our committee standpoint, it was to try to provide some access for groups that might not have those benefits.
Are the percentages of the population as a whole or the registered voters?
Registered voters, yeah.
I have a question, just to clarify. The letter says 5% for all petitions. The proposal is 5% for all petitions to be automatically placed on the Australian ballot. That's fine. But that's different than, that would mean the select board be hands off at that.
That's, well, to clarify, that is automatically, unless the select board exercises its discretion that is in the rules of the state regarding the suitability of it. Again, this is one of those things that's in there to prevent, again, having to put on petitions that advocate illegal activities or things that are simply beyond your capacity to do. So, the one in the past that was banning George Bush from coming to Jericho. It's not in your capacity to do that. It's not legal. So you wouldn't have to put that on there. But as far as the only thing you have to do, as far as I know, is the bond stuff at 10%. So again, in some ways,
What's that? The
the bond, I think the threshold for anything involving a bond is 10% for signatures.
Over a petition for a bond?
Yeah. And that's obviously when money's involved, it's a bit more strict. But yeah, when we're doing this because right now the thing says at 10%, things are automatically put on the ballot. So it's just changing the threshold back to what it is in every other town, which is 5%. But again, it doesn't technically change the select board's ability to put the kibosh on something that is clearly not within, the ambit of what it considers to be its responsibility. And again, that's enshrined in the state rules anyway.
But I also think that there was some abstractions related to what's discretionary and when does that come into play with the select board, at least for this particular item.
Yeah, and this puts it back into the language that's already in the state regulations so that there's no question, if you do make a decision, you have a very firm basis to make it on based on the state statutes. And, it makes it simpler for everybody, I think, because it will be the same as every other town.
And I think, I spoke with Jessica. I know Jessica sent you an email.
Oh, God.
A while back, giving you sharing the minutes from that 2007 meeting, and
She may have.
Yeah, I had that here.
and then just putting it out there to say, does this select board want to revisit and either reaffirm or modify the language surrounding that, both in terms of the percent threshold as well as what kinds of things would be discretionary? Is it a non-town issue? And if it's a non-town issue, how is that then debated? She gave some examples in that email about, back when this was happening, there were groups interested in putting things on the town meeting about abortion and about this and that. And so, there's still a little bit of abstraction related to what does this might mean.
So as the Town Meeting Reimagining Committee has been working on the public question, which is what this is all about. And so, I'm kind of the select board rep to that group. So I've been doing some research on all, I have that's the motion right there that Tim and Bob did. And so my understanding, and I had a fairly long conversation with, with VLCT, which is the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. They have lawyers we can consult with about all of this stuff. And my understanding is that there are kind of three categories of things. There are things that belong to the voters, that the voters are in charge of. And some examples of that are the budget, the election of officers, and the method of voting at town meeting. Three examples of that. And in state statute, if 5% of the population sign a petition for something that is in their purview, then there's no conversation. Within 45 days, a vote has to happen. Then there's things that are in the select board's purview, like the ability, I'm reading off the exchange with the BLCT, the ability to adopt an ordinance, well, the select board has the right to adopt an ordinance, but the voters have a right to disallow an ordinance that's already been adopted. And I kept saying back and forth, like, I need to know what are the voters in charge of and what's the select board in charge of. And after a long back and forth, she basically said, like, I can't give you a list. There's not a list of all the things. When it comes up, you should tell us and we'll say, that's the voters, that's the select board. So the piece that this applies to is the piece of things that are in the select board's purview, that are not in the voters' purview. Because if it's a thing that voters have power over, then it's in statute. If it's something that's in our power, then there's no state statute around that. And so that's when it's up to the select board how they want to deal with it. I think, this is my opinion, that the idea of town business and non-town business has been used a lot for since 2007 as like, oh, that's the bar. If it's town related, it's 5%. If it's not town related, it's 10%. That's not actually how it plays out. There's basically the voters own it, that's 5%. The voters don't own it right now in Jericho, it's 10%. So it isn't so much like the arrest George Bush if he arrives in Jericho. I mean, that you can petition that, but that's not something the voters control. I would argue it's something the select board controls. So that's sort of maybe not frivolous, but I would call the BLCT and say, what do we do with this? So that's just sort of my understanding of the background.
You would call them if you got a petition?
If I got a petition, or honestly, yes, I got a petition that signed by any voters and it said George Bush or whoever going to get arrested, I would say, do we have to deal with this? I mean, I guess if I supported it, I'd be like, yeah, I want to do this. But regardless, if I didn't want to support it, I'd be like, do we have to deal with this? And I call the BLCT. Yeah. If someone were to come forward, if someone were talking about a petition, if my wife Amy came in and said, I'm thinking about having a petition to do whatever silly thing, to paint every house in town with whatever, I would say, okay, great. Let me see what the requirements are for that. And I would call the BLCT and I would say, oh, okay, you need 5% because I have BLCT, or you need 10% in Jericho for the specific petition someone was talking about. In terms of I'm not voicing an opinion right now about the 5% versus 10%. I think the idea, honestly, was that the select board at that time didn't really trust the voters, I think is kind of how I read that 10% personally. And that if you're going to try and force us to do something, there better be enough of you to really force our hand.
I think the other thing, Peter, was that they didn't want to sometimes make those decisions. They put that onus back on the town.
Right, but if they wanted to do that, they would have lowered the threshold, right?
So one of my questions is how does the select board know when to reach out to BLCT, or should we just do it more often than not?
If I heard like, for example, last year they were talking about the Palestine petition, and if I had thought of it then, I would have said, oh, I'm going to call BLCT. It hasn't come to us. I actually never even saw it, but I would call BLCT. Hey, we're thinking this Palestine thing might come up. This is our charter. This is state statute. What do we, if we get 5%, what's our obligation? If we get 10%, what's our obligation?
So if we change from 10 to 5 now, as this proposal is, then everything would be 5%. We might still reach out to BLCT.
Yeah, and the one difference about this is that this, I think, actually, if we delete this, so we go back to like what everybody else does, my understanding is that if voters came forward with something that's in their purview and it's a state statute, great, it's done. If it's not in their purview, and it's 5%, it's up to the board if we want to do it or not. And if we don't want to do it, we can ignore them. So in some ways, so there's something, so let's say that we were all politically aligned in some bizarre way, and we didn't want to do something that everybody in town wanted. And you showed up with 5%, we didn't have this rule, we'd be like, nope, we don't like that. But with this rule, if you get 10%, we give up our voice. We say, no, we have no control anymore.
I think that's exactly what I got from what they said. Yeah.
So so this threshold, I'm thinking this through out loud right now. I believe that you're reading this as more restrictive. But I think maybe it's less restrictive because it gives a path to overrule the select board.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So when you were using your example of, I forget exactly what it was, something about Trump landing aliens in the green.
Yeah.
My understanding of that old 10% threshold is me as a select board would say, I am not putting that on the ballot, and I'm going to convince the rest of my select board to do it. My understanding of that 10% is I don't have that ability anymore. We're putting it on the ballot because you've got 10%. That was the way it was explained to me a lot of times, even though it wasn't ever explained as well as Peter just did with all his research. But it was like, it was examples of things like that. Like
if people really disagree with the select board, they can override us.
I've never really thought about it of the context. Peter put it in of within their purview, outside of their purview. But I think Catherine used to try really hard. It's hard to explain things to me, so I appreciate her patience. But she would try to explain, well, if it's not really a town thing, but they get 10%, then fine. We're waiving our ability to do exactly what you said. Our ability to say, no, we're not doing that. I think that's what it was. And that's how it's been used, whether that's exactly how they intended it. That's how it's been used, I think, recently.
So I think you can say the real thing for us, I mean, again, whatever y'all want to do, and how you decide to do it, or you trust you'll make a solid decision. But it's really about how you want to sort of approach it. Do you want to focus on the possibilities of the voters doing something in your mind, silly or wrong, or do you want to focus on enhancing the ability of the voters to communicate and bring things forward? Do you trust the people of the town to have a voice, or not? And that's sort of the main important thing, regardless of what rules are adopted. And it sounds like the board here is much more trusting than the one 20 years ago. And that's really our main point, is that, the main point of this particular thing here is to send a signal that we trust you. If you want to try to get things on the ballot, go for it. That's part of your voice. As opposed to...
But this is giving us back our discretion.
Hold on a second. So there's two ways to...
You've never lost your discretion. It's always been there.
But I didn't understand that until you said it, literally.
You've always had discretion.
Not with 10. Once you get 10%, we have no discretion.
Right. But
That's,
I don't know if that's entirely true, according to the way I read the statute.
It may not be legally true, but
it's town policy.
Yeah.
Right, the town policy, but but it's not state policy.
Right, correct.
The state policy has it at pretty much, again, every town set it at 5. And according to the state rules for town governance, as far as at least the way I read them, I'm not a lawyer, but the way I read them was that you still have a great deal of discretion, even at the 5%, because there's nothing in the state rules that force you to put on the ballot things that are manifestly outside of the ability of the town.
Without this, we have total discretion for anything that is not within the purview of the voters. So I'm trying to think, so an example was, so we passed a dog ordinance, and people don't like it, and we can do that. Just the 5 of us can pass an ordinance, and then people don't like that. That is so challenging undoing an ordinance. That's something that's in the voters' sort of arsenal. And if you get 5% of the vote, we have to have a vote about it. If you get 5% of the population of the registered voters, then we have to the town has to vote on the ordinance on rescinding the ordinance that we passed, because that's in your power. But if you came to us and said, I want to force you to make an ordinance, which is not something you have the power to do, we have the power to do that. If you want to force us to get an ordinance and you got 5%, we could say, yeah, we're not going to do that. But in Jericho, if 10% of you say we want an ordinance and we all disagree with it, we have to have a vote on it, because we have said if 10% of you want to do something we don't like, we will have that vote as a full town.
So I have two questions or comments. One is, on principle, why is it a bad thing to let the town who got their petition signed to vote on it, as opposed to you having power? So it's, for me as a member of the DEI, it's less about power, because we know where power has been, and it's about access and voice. So the 10% versus 5% has some ramifications in terms of who has power, but from our committee's conversations about who has access to the process, and the process at 10% is prohibitive to some marginalized groups or groups that aren't in the majority to get enough signatures to make the threshold.
So I don't know exactly what I haven't read that like into this level of detail, but I think based on what you're saying, I think what you're advocating for is not to get rid of this, not to get rid of the people's ability to overrule the select board, but to lower the threshold to overrule the select board to 5%.
Or to get things on the ballot so the town can.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. If we say, no, we're not going to vote on that, we don't like your ordinance, the town's not going to vote on it. Right now, if 10%, which is 430 people, get a signature, then we say, okay, then that's enough people that we're going to put on the ballot. We're all going to vote on it. What I think you're wanting is that bar to be that requirement of the ability to force a vote on something that the board doesn't want to vote on, to lower that from 10% to 5%, rather than just saying, we want to undo this. Because if we undo this, now you have no ability to overrule us on things that are.
Right. So I think that.
I think his point would be, his point about the space aliens, we would still have the power to say, oh, cool, you got 400 signatures? See you. Nothing to do with Jericho. And the old 10% rule would have not allowed us to do that. And what I think Peter's trying to suggest, that maybe what you're trying to suggest, is that just becomes 5% now, and the alien thing goes on the ballot if you get it.
Or you revise the statute or whatever it's called.
Like the board policy.
Revise the policy to make it clear what is in the voters' purview and what isn't.
I think that would help.
Where the percentages are. But for me, it's less about power and it's about access and voices to groups that it's prohibitive for them to get that many signatures for a variety of reasons.
That's right. I get that. What Peter's saying is that change would now allow that same group to come up with a 5% signature and still allow us to say no. And I think we don't want that. And I think they didn't want that. And I think.
It doesn't say that. I mean, the letter says, lower the signature threshold of registered voters from 10% to 5% for all petitions to be automatically placed on the Australian ballot. So that's the proposal.
Okay.
Right. So
that is.
It doesn't matter if you don't have control over whether aliens come to the green. It goes to the voters of Jericho.
And there may be something to talk to the lawyers about in terms of how the state rules interact with our pain point really is just want to distill it down. It's yes, we think that it's preferable to have the possibility of some more, let's say, annoying or perhaps tangential items. That's a small price to pay on the ballot or for more access. Because in practical terms, we seriously doubt that it's going to make, floodgates are not going to open. But the message being sent by the town, we would think would be better if it says, we have a fairly low bar for you to get a significant number of people engaged. To me, that is worth whatever the price we have to pay for it, because I don't think the price is going to be prohibitive, but others may differ. But I think that's just something that we in the committee thought would be a good way for the town to signal its willingness to engage with a lot of people, particularly at the time right now when all sorts of people are pissed off about all sorts of different things.
And I think part of it is not lowering the bar, it's creating access.
I mean, I'm supportive of that proposal. I wonder if we don't need to do a little, like you've done some research, but to say, you know, what are things that,
What's within the discretion
yes.
of the voters
Yeah,
and what's
we're
within.
not insisting that, vote like right now and accept, or deny it. We're bringing it as a request for the board to consider this issue and to think seriously about the issues we've raised so that the board can come up with something for the town that meets some of our request in terms of access and also rationalization with other towns, but in a way that works for Jericho and will make your lives easy as well. So, I mean, it's just a proposal for action to align Jericho in a more accessible way.
I'm very supportive of this, to be clear, but I feel like I'm being kind of harping jerk on like, no, you're not saying it right, but I want to just be really clear that like this sentence here says only proposals with signatures from 10% of the population are automatically placed on the ballot. That's not true. That's if you get 5% of certain topics, that's automatically placed on the ballot already. And then you referenced a couple of times like bringing you guys in line with other towns. We would be going beyond. We're already more flexible. I'm supporting what you're saying. We're already more flexible. Other towns just have 5% if you have the power. Otherwise, we'll do what we want. This thing says 5% of the power, 10%, and our hands are tied. So we're increasing the ability of the people to overrule the select board. So if we said, which I think I don't at this instant, I'm feeling like, yeah, we should do it. If we said any petition that gets 5%, we will put it on the ballot regardless. We'll waive our right. Exactly. That now Jericho is way more liberal than any other town in the area.
Do we know that?
Well, they said that.
They said other towns have discretion. We're giving up.
Well, I think that you've highlighted some of the complexities of it. And again, we were not. We're bringing this at a more macro level.
Need to be all like,
We are. Again, the purpose of our proposal is precisely this sort of discussion. Yep. Exactly. Our main goal really was to get this type of thought about the thresholds that apparently was not really engaged in 2007. And in some ways, that's as important as the result, because whatever policy that comes out of this, if everybody is on board with it and it's clearly articulated and explained and everybody knows exactly where the discretionary power lies under the guidelines for the exercise of that discretion, we'll be in a better place than we are now. And that in itself leads to more sort of accessibility and more participation because
clarity allows access.
Yes, clarity allows access, exactly. And there are, it's a complex situation as you brought out, but I think that what I hear here is that you folks are kind of on the same page, that you want to make it right and workable. And that's what we would like as well.
I'm still confused as to why there's a sticking point of whether or not you have discretionary power or not. Because it's on the ballot, because 5% of the voters had petitioned to get it on the ballot, and it's a yes/no vote versus a floor meeting or a floor vote. I'm still trying to understand what is prohibitive about that.
I think one point that is clear to me with all of the explanation is, I think as you were considering it in your committee, you were looking at it like Jericho is more restrictive because we have 10%. And I think that's wrong. I think it's easy because it's so complex, because of these weird little minutia things. What that 10% was for the exclusions that he was mentioning that are legal in state law, right? We're not going to arrest George Bush. Other towns, if you get 25% petition, according to state statute, they don't have to do it. They don't have to put it on there. What we had said was, okay, we'll do it if you double the thing, right? And so I'm just afraid that you're looking at Jericho as if we're being more restrictive because of how complex this weird little 5 to 10% is. And I think we're not. And I think Peter's saying
we're actually more permissive.
we're more permissive than any other
towns.
states.
It's not so much about being, you're correct about that. It's not so much about being more restrictive. It's about a difference that is not clearly articulated or explains to the reasoning for it, right? And it's, again, partly has to do with the opacity of the requirements, I think. But this discussion, I think, is highlighted, and again, provided a lot of good information that seems to indicate to me that some thought might be profitably invested in clarification and figuring out something that would be easily and clearly explained to folks, and also to align the current town leadership with the requirements that are there in a way so that's sort of more simpatico.
Completely. Now, where I'll contradict myself is, who knows how the application of that has.
And I think that's part of the problem.
Select board sits between
Right.
that, because I've never understood it more clearly than I do now, despite how many times I asked. I would constantly get in this thing of like, so Catherine, what's the 10% again? Like so many times. And it's just very, very complex. So it's very possible that we, some select board that I wasn't a member of, I don't ever remember this happening, but before I joined, somebody came in with a 5% and they said, oh, no, that's a 10%, when it really may have been in the voters' purview, but their interpretation of it that it wasn't, because maybe they're not asking VLCT every, you know what I mean? Like that's where it would probably help, is like, well, in or out, I don't have to ask VLCT because it's going on the ballot, you know?
If the only thing that comes out of this is clarification of this process, I think that's a win for everybody.
But the question for us is, do we want to waive our discretionary powers at 5%?
And that when we were having our conversations in our committee, it wasn't necessarily about discretionary power and this and that. It was just about, what if there are issues or topics that particular groups who have a difficult time getting 10% want to put out there? Would this provide more access? Without understanding the
nuance of all
of it. And it wasn't that we were challenging the select board or the town in terms of it's too restrictive. That wasn't our intent. It was just, can we allow more access?
How can we make it more accessible for people who are underrepresented or get anxious about speaking in public or whatever to access their select board and have the ability to create petitions and get questions on the ballot. Right?
And bring those issues to the public that might not have been because they didn't get 10%. So we certainly weren't trying to usurp anybody's discretionary
I
power.
don't take it that way.
Part of that clarification going forward for everybody involved is for everybody to understand that I think we would need to rely on VLCT to make a designation on these things, because it's it's not like we're going to be able to have a list.
Right, which I actually asked in this change bill, like, can you tell me what things are voter in charge of and what things they'll select board? She says, no, I can't list all the rights of voters.
But if that process was made in a sense public and is part of the communications, that voters know that here's the petition process, here's what happens, and here's how things are determined, and that would clarify things a lot. And perhaps the select board itself could be more or attune itself so that if there are issues that are getting close to 5% or whatever, they might want to invite people in to ask them about it,
right,
or something like that. Because the whole point again is access and voice, not necessarily physically getting something on a ballot. It's about making sure that people aren't overlooked because of some sort of mechanical requirement or something. That's all. And I think that just this conversation here is made sure that I think that those things will be considered. So that's really was sort of our goal.
Maybe 5% and still have discretionary power. I mean, we were wording it, revising it so that you still have a say.
What should we do next?
That's what I was going to ask. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your back and forth with VLCT, because I really do understand it more now than I have. I'm sure there's still gotcha out there that I don't know.
Feel like I feel awkward speaking every time. Like, I don't really know what voter purview and.
Yeah,
purview.
so I appreciate that. So what does the board want to do? Do you want to vote on it as is? Do you want to kick it back and work on the wording a little bit?
I would like to do, I'm speaking for myself, do nothing right now. And I think I would propose that we put together a document that sort of talks about what they're talking about. And let's just say that we said, no, we're gonna keep 10%, but explain what that's for and why is that and why is it
What's
5% and explain all of it. And lower to 5%.
The other really confusing part is she could walk in and say, hey, would you guys be willing to put
Yes.
XYZ on the ballot?
Oh, sure.
And we'll go, oh yeah, all in favor?
And that
Aye.
happened,
Boom, that's done.
because they didn't
Right.
have time to get it.
Right,
That
and
happened.
so
Yes.
understanding how that process works too, and not that I want to
Encourage people to walk
I
in.
do think, as you said, I like the 5% because you're at least 5% of them have heard about it and aren't showing up at the ballot. What the hell,
Or just who has the voice.
Yeah.
But it would also be important to explain to everybody that there's time involved. So there would be time for, if BLC needs to review it, that's going to take some time. And so there's a 45-day or 47-day, deadline, but they'd have to also build in the BLCT time.
So it sounded like you were volunteering.
I know he's about to say.
But seriously, you've got the most knowledge. Like maybe write something up that
Maybe I'll write something up and run it by VLCT and say like, hey, here's a document. What do you think of this?
and then get the document on the website and questions about questions.
Maybe
There you go.
I would like to understand any pitfalls involved with our just 5% on the ballot.
Right. The only one I can think of is, let's say, and again, this just popped into my head based on some of the things. Let's say something came in illegal, right? Like something obviously illegal. Well, we just told you we would put anything on at 5%. We're not putting that on.
What I'm worried more about is something like Jessica makes people angry about something, and so we want Jessica Alexander gone. And so we're going to get a petition of 5% of you. You can't stop us. We want her gone. We're going to have a vote about getting her out of the office. That's not a good example. She gets in by a vote. But
Yeah.
okay, so people are mad at Chris Shaheen.
Yep.
And we want you to fire Chris Shaheen.
Yep.
And so if 215 people get that signature, we have to put it out. We have to put it out to the town, and the town gets to vote to fire him. Because I think that's something we have the power to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking about where could it go sideways?
I don't know, 51% of the people wanted a town official gone. Maybe there's another problem, a deeper problem. We're happy with whatever y'all do. I mean, again, we don't want you, it's not like something you have to vote on necessarily. We would like to be part of any conversations if it would be helpful. Once you find out more, if you want to run stuff by or talk at all. If not, that's fine too. But
Peter's going to write the most amazing document, and then he's going to share it with you guys. See what you think, maybe.
no, yeah, this is what we wanted. We just wanted to reopen this sort of issue.
Think about access and
Yeah.
how we engage the voter. I think everybody here wants to be
Yes,
engaging voters as much as possible. For sure.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time and thinking about this and bringing it up. And
Thanks for the effort y'all put into it. It was very, very, very informative.
Next on the agenda is to review and consider adopting the updated town road and bridge standards effective 1/21/26. This is one of those things we do every year.
Well, not every year, because it was 5 years ago that they updated the road and bridge standards, right? That's what I was reading through. They haven't been updated since 2021?
19.
19, thank you.
I feel like I've done this, but yeah.
We do a thing where we send in the road mileage, confirm our road mileage every year.
It's a little different.
we still have,
We just did that
Okay.
one. This one's slightly different.
Okay. No, I know, but I thought that's the thing we do every year.
Every year we do that.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm confused.
This feels like it's a little different. I have no problem with this. Because we need to continue to get funding.
If there's any questions on it, I don't have the answers. I think Paula would if she were here.
Yeah, my general question is, are there changes in this that the town would be now out of compliance with that we would need to address? And if so, by what, is there a deadline for that? And part of that question is, in my mind, Catherine McMains had mentioned to me that at some point, the drainage off of Boulder Hill is non-compliant for some state standard and would need to be addressed. And so that's part of my thinking for the drainage for the town libraries, combining those two problems.
Right.
So
there are, my understanding, I think that's the MGRP. There might be a little letter in there. There are roads like that we have to continuously improve, like we did Silly Hill a few years ago. So there's like a list of ones that are not compliant by the current standards, but there's like time that we have. I don't know any of those details, but that was my general understanding of how that works. So we've got like, hey, as long as you're doing one every 2 years or whatever it was. That's my understanding of what they were. I don't have a good understanding of what changed, if anything changed. I don't think much changed.
My counter to that, though, is no matter what, I would still like to be up to the state standard to continue to get funding for whatever grants and whatever else. And then it's just, hey, Jacob, here are your new priority projects that you need to fix right now.
I guess that was my question.
Yeah, I don't read anything in here that says like, oh, and if one of your bridges is under standard, then no money for you.
No, sure, but is it whose role would it be to sort through this and then say to Jacob, by the way, we need to do this? Or
I think it's Jacob.
Jacob is in charge of the roads, so we're gonna say like, oh yeah, we're gonna agree to all the new state standards around all the road stuff, the class 4 roads and all that. And Jacob, just so you know, here's 4 new bullets, and if it creates problems for you, put it on your list and figure out when you're gonna do it. And if the state comes knocking and says, hey, you're not getting money because you didn't do that Boulder Hill, then hey, Jacob, Boulder Hill is maybe the top of your list.
And then honestly, we need to be able to, hey, the road budget may be a little bit higher next year because we need to fix a few things at priority. But
and I think a lot of his work is driven by this thing anyway. You know how he's like, oh yeah, we're down on Plains Road, we got to do this thing, and then we all kind of get glazed over. Like, but if it's not done by this date,
right?
I think a lot of that is from.
So when he comes to us with his budget requests or suggestions or however he does that, he will have read through this and understood the implications. And
I don't think that'd be part of his budget conversation. But
it might be though. But if it's like, oh, I've got like,
if he suddenly realizes there's something big has to be dealt with, then yes. But in general, I think that it's just a part of his job is like keeping track of where things are with the roads, knowing what the expectations are, and doing his best to meet those expectations. And we give him a budget, and it's probably gonna be the same as next year. And he's like, yep, I can still keep working on these. Everything's gonna be fine, you know. So I would make a motion to adopt the updated town road and bridge standards.
I will second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are zipping through this long agenda. Review and consider approval of VLCT nominations.
Oh, no, you missed one. You about the
I'm sorry.
technology one.
Oh gosh, yeah. You want to take this one?
Sure. Do we need to bring it?
Let me say it for the record. I'm sorry. Review and consider approval of the technology use, email, social media, and information security policy.
Do we need to bring it up on the screen or no?
I'd rather not. I can.
No need.
Is Michael Miller a citizen who wants to see it?
I don't know.
Let's see.
I guess whatever.
I can. It would just take me a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine. So a while back, the select board talked about creating a technology use, email, social media policy, and Paula drafted one. It was approved. The attorney approved it. She referred to other town policies and VLCT policies. And the reason for the policy should be clear to everyone, but a few goals are to prevent phishing attacks, fraud, and theft, data governance to ensure data and information is protected, secure and properly stored. When an employee or elected official leaves their job, the email address and its archives remain with the town. So some of the policy is common sense, but we should always be explicit. So for folks who had a chance to look at this, were there any tweaks or questions?
One, first of all, thank you for putting this together.
Well,
This
it's
is
really polished.
But like, thank you for doing this. So, but in, what is it? Section 4C,
Yeah.
subsection 2,
Yeah.
there is a thing that says remove this.
Yeah.
And I think we should remove that.
We should remove that, yep,
And that was my one note.
okay.
So Paula sent this out, I went through it, and then rather than me like listing all these in the meeting, I just send you a revised document with all that stuff. And so she then took what I sent back and pasted that into the document and missed that. I wrote remove this.
Your fault.
Okay, sure. So that dot and the word remove this should be removed.
Okay. All right. Not the whole bullet.
No, not line number 2.
Okay.
The little dot and the arrow and the word remove this should be taken out.
Okay. I understood fully because I was confused why we would remove that in the first place. Anyway, great. The only other, like, it's gone through the lawyers, so I'm certain it's great. But I got some like wishy-washy, like, oh, unless you really need to use social media at this point, and then it's okay, or like, as long as Claudine said that is the right way to do it, that's fine. I just got a little antsy about that.
But it was too restricted or?
No, it was a little loosey-goosey. Yeah, it was a little permissive.
Paula, Claudine did go through it.
Then I trust it.
Does adopting this policy force me to get a town account?
Sure does.
Well,
You should have it anyway.
Because I'm official.
Are you an employee?
Well,
It says or official.
Or official.
Employees are official.
it would force you to have your personal email audited, or whatever email you're using.
But that already exists.
Yeah,
This, like, state statute means that they can go through this email.
I understand why there's people that think that I should do that, and in hindsight, I kind of wish I had done that from the beginning, but I don't really want to do it now. That's just a personal thing. I don't really see the exposure that I have. Let's say somebody takes over my email account. What's the exposure to the town?
All right. So you remember?
Hacked.
Yeah, I lose access to my account. Somebody's got it. They can.
All right. So you remember? I don't know. It must have probably been last summer at this point.
How's it different than my town account being hacked?
Yeah, like.
Well, it's because it's a different vulnerability system. I think we can have a conversation about how I think our town emails are pretty vulnerable because of what happened last year with the phishing, where they attempted to phish all of us. That's a different
But that was different.
That was different.
That was very easy to do. Anybody could do that.
Sure.
Still.
Sure. But I also think that I haven't seen a pen test for our systems recently. Have we ever done one? I doubt it.
Right.
I hear what you're saying too, Peter, that that's
right.
No, I'm just explaining what I think your question is and what if I get hacked. Your question is why is my personal account getting hacked any more likely than a town account being hacked?
And let's say it does. Let's say it's let's say by some miracle
The town is super
the
secure.
town is way more secure and mine is just loosey goosey and I've got my password posted everywhere.
Yeah.
What's the risk to the town if somebody gets into my account?
They can send emails with authority.
yeah.
kind of business.
They can say, "Hey, Paul, I need to speak with you." They can.
Will you buy me this?
Or
Or
you
you might be using your email for, signing up for some weird website, your personal email that.
Right. But
that
let's
could
say
then be phished, hackers could boost through to get.
to get what?
to see any personal
Like I
information of people in
Oh, and
email.
exposure of private converse, like emails you get from
Yeah.
citizens saying,
Which
"Get
are
Peter
public.
Booth, get Peter Booth."
Which are public.
Yes, but that they are
Records.
public by request, not by scammer trying to expose you and information.
Just to, not intentionally, but just to add pressure to you, I'm going to be going to a town thing. I actually was going to email Paula, but she's just has bigger things going on than my email. So I'm gonna be going to a town email too. And I'm gonna just drag all the folders from my town, from my personal email. And I have like one select board folder on I'm gonna drag the select board folder over and dump it into the new. Sorry.
But it is, I do think we do need to clarify some things.
So every single volunteer now, like that's like, if it's really $500 an account.
Yeah.
That's a huge,
It's not.
that's what Paula told us.
That can't be right.
Yeah, because we
Because
don't,
every volunteer, we have like 50 volunteers.
yeah, we don't, I don't want to get way too into my day job, but I also agree that can't be right because that would be right for the full office subscription.
Right,
That's
exactly.
what we have is the, which is, we have an E3 license, which no one here needs to know what that means, but like the baby license.
All I was thinking of was that maybe right now there's 10 accounts in the town and we get those for free. And then if we upgrade to 50 accounts, it costs $500. But it's definitely not $500 per account or anything like
You're
that.
saying all the planning commission, all the,
No, I think we should clarify we're talking about employees and officials, so we should clarify who qualifies as an official of the town.
Oh, probably not me.
Is it just the elected officials?
I would say,
But we should be clear,
we should.
add some language. Elected officials with.
and are we the only ones elected? We are, right?
It's just
Well,
weird, right? Because the
right.
only thing you need to serve on, and I'm not trying to be, if you guys tell me I need to do it, I'll do it. I don't like it. I don't think it makes us any more safe. I don't think it helps in any way. If I had a town credit card, 100%. If I had access to the town, say, I don't have anything. There's nothing that I have that I'm not gonna have. You know what I mean? Like, sure, okay, I get a town account and they still hack my personal account and say, Chris, I need you to go. And like, it's like all the thing, it provides zero protection.
But could somebody use your email address and ask for the town, as if you were the town official asking for something or demanding something, or I mean, is that possible?
I guess, like,
I don't
give me, I need you to write a check for $25,000 to this like,
Oh, okay. Hold on, write a check.
yeah, I got this from Eric. I mean, it's clear and legit. So anyway,
I don't know.
I think we should
All we need-
clarify to elected officials, but then again, the question is,
but
if we adopt this.
Then Eric has to do it.
don't not do it because of me, but just because I don't want to do it. My point is this, let's say I don't run for select board again. Somebody else runs. They're elected. There's nothing you can do about that. The voters elected them. If they don't want to get an account, they don't have to get an account.
No, they do with board policy. And
So then what happens?
then they get,
Well,
nothing.
Do we have
we
I don't know if we have the ability to say, no, you can't be on the board because of that? Like, do we have
That's a
that?
question.
And that's true. Like for staff, we can take away benefits, but for
Well, staff we can fire. Staff, this is
Right.
policy. But elected official, let's say they were more belligerent about it than
Which,
I'm
and
not
that happened. There's towns where select board meetings are super contentious. They're like, no, you're don't touch-" like that 100% happens.
be like, I'm not getting an account. If you want to talk to me, you can email me this, or you don't have to. I don't think you have the
Authority.
I don't think you have the authority.
There certainly would be things we would have the authority to fire one of us. I mean, if somebody
Right,
breaches.
right.
the violations of this policy may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment, removal of access privileges, reimbursement for damages, referral to law enforcement, or other actions permitted by law. None of that. is
Those
us.
all what?
So, disciplinary actions include termination of employment for anyone under this policy. Any
I see. You're reading that. Oh, I got
Yeah,
you. None of which
removal
apply
of
to us.
access of privileges, reimbursement for damages, which I don't understand reimbursement for damages. Well, I guess I do. Like they would have to pay the town back.
Right.
But yeah, that's what we're getting. Refer to law enforcement, other, like none of that applies to us unless, you do something truly heinous without a town account.
Yeah, I guess.
And it says elected officials who violate it may be subject to loss of benefits, which you don't get.
Well, I mean,
Well,
we're talking about
it's
stipends.
Oh,
And I suppose.
You want to do this for free now?
I mean, it's that salary, not that.
I mean, I suppose it could be like, okay, well, so let's pretend you're not the chair. So you're like, yeah, I'm not doing it. Okay, so Chris is the chair, and Chris is like, okay, so Eric will not be included in any email communications until he gets to school. And if he can come to select board meetings, participate, but he can come get a paper copy of the packet from Paula, and communication between the four of us will obviously not violate open meeting law, but like we can communicate through email and no one can communicate with Eric through email.
And Susan has a .gov.
Yep.
And it would pass along, it's planning chair. So once
Right.
she's not chair, it passes to that.
And that's like I had that for JCDC chair.
And that was a .gov too.
It's owned by the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Why are we .gov and .org?
They've done orgs. I thought they only done govs.
Our emails are .gov and our town website is .org.
Oh, I had never thought of that. That's a good question.
I'm guessing it's a legacy that someone just didn't bother to. I think we should get it. I think we should be. That's why I was emailing when you guys all joined. I was emailing all of you and you weren't getting them because I was like Chris Brown at JerichoVT.org, which I think is the website. So no, and you got it.
I'd like to understand why Paula thinks that it costs $500. I don't want to just dismiss that.
Okay.
And
So that's a
I don't, and are we saying only elected officials, not all town volunteers? So
Right.
then what? So are they allowed to be emailed to? Like, it's a bigger scope than I think you're thinking of.
And if there's a volunteer and they wanted one, could they get one?
We should look at there's a volunteer handbook. We should look at that. I can take all this and.
Right, like, I'm volunteering on the Trails Committee, I meet once a month, I can't hear anything from the board unless I sign in from a different account, like, no, I'm not doing that, right? Like,
No, I don't think, no, we're talking about elected official. I'm talking about the select board, nobody else.
okay, but let's say I wanted to email that board.
What board? Select board?
The
Trails.
Trails Committee,
Oh,
You can email.
you can go. And
from my town
most of them.
address.
Yeah, from your town address.
Maybe, what if I, Eric Johnson, chair of the select board, want to email the
Right,
Cody Phillips?
Yeah.
You would email him from your town email.
to what email address?
To his email. Well, he, like,
Whatever he
when you
has.
go to this, well, yeah, I think he has chair@bikeped.
Okay, what if it's one of the other ones who doesn't?
There's nothing in here that says you can't
You can-
email someone with a .com.
Yeah, you can, the select board, you email Claudine. I mean, like you can email anybody you want. You can.
Yeah.
One question I had,
I do think the volunteers, I think elected officials versus volunteers should be spelled out. And I also do want to make sure we understand what the cost is.
yeah.
And as long as we're doing all this and you're doing it and I'm not, because I'm writing the 10% thing up, if you could figure out the .org versus .gov, and I'm 99% sure it's just a legacy thing.
I wonder if you might be able to just buy the domain and just do a redirect and not change anything, and then it looks,
Probably.
you could probably do that.
And it may be that
Unless someone else
I mean,
buys
let's see, it's already set, actually.
we offer a .gov email to the chair of any volunteer group.
So what are we, what's your email? The .org or .gov?
Good .gov.
Your email is .gov. Okay, JerichoVT.gov.
I have a
It
question.
goes to JerichoVT.org, so it's already right there.
Why can't, yes.
So it's just bizarre to me that.
Maybe stop complaining about it.
But
Then.
it, no, but, okay,
But I like it.
but it doesn't make sense. Like what?
We should find
It's
out.
redirecting great, but when I go to just because I can still type in VSECU for the state employees credit union, and it redirects me to whoever bought them.
It should redirect the other way.
Right.
To the .gov.
Look, at UVT World, we prefer you not ask questions. Does it work right now?
It's public comment,
It's
okay.
working.
And if it doesn't, turn it off, turn it back on, and then email us back.
Just ignore it and wait 2 weeks.
I won't believe this help desk guy.
Want to talk about page 1, section 4. A town employee should avoid conducting town business using their personal email address or on a personal computer. Are town employees issued laptops?
I get a new laptop out of this.
No,
deal.
but
I was gonna say,
If we're restricting personal computers for employees, and they want to work from home, do they have town laptops, I don't know.
They don't.
Question.
I mean, I don't know that.
Or
I'm sure.
the desktop.
I would not restrict. I would not
Yes.
restrict. I would not have that restriction in there. That's
And
insane.
it says
Because then you
unless-
can't have an email on
specifically
your phone.
authorized by
Twitter,
the
right?
town.
Oh.
So it says it has to be specifically authorized by the town. So what does that mean? The town administrator says, yes, you could do that on your personal computer from home.
Like
Or do we-
every person we're asking to have a town email address is going to put it on their phone.
Yeah.
So maybe that part needs.
I would maybe strike that. Ask,
Yeah.
maybe check with Claudine to make sure there is some exposure, but I would strike that completely.
Okay. I'll ask that question.
It also says should avoid, doesn't even say.
Right, exactly. This is what
Oh, I
I
tried, but it's not on my
It's so
phone.
hard. It's so hard right now.
I mean, this is only to town employees, but still, I mean, it doesn't say elected officials, but still.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
All my stuff I had, I sent to Paula and it's on the new.
Make sure I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, and again, I'm not taking cybersecurity lightly. Like the points I were making were whatever. The other point is to Amy's point. I am not convinced that I'm any less likely to get hacked on either town than I am with Google. Google we're pretty good with.
I think it's also, I'm not convinced of what you're saying, but I'm not like he doesn't understand.
I don't know
I
for
think you
sure.
might be right.
They may be very well.
But I also think it's honestly, I think it's just more professional. Like
There's that,
as a like I'm like when I'm typing you guys in, I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, Eric and whatever the autofills now, but like feels like just more professional.
Eric J in Vermont.
Whatever.
It's just like how like
We're all judging you. Hold on.
Also, when you're searching for things that you want to buy or you're searching a topic on Gmail and other corporate email addresses, what starts popping up in your email is, hey, do you want to buy this? I mean, it's connected to what you're searching.
Your
Yeah.
cookie enablement, yeah.
right, but again, my email has no connection to this town, other than emails I get and sent. Right, like so, like let's say I tried to buy this thing, I get this weird ad, I get phished, I get hooked. I keep going back to. Other than somebody emailing somebody else to send them money. Like that's the only that's like
You're like it's complicated, but the town isn't affected.
right.
That's your point. Yeah.
If we were to do this, would you?
I'll do whatever you guys want. I'll do it. I don't want to. I'm gonna go. It's just that I have like 5 email addresses. I'm just.
But that, it reminds me of the Chittenden Solid Waste District.
Oh, that's why she's doing
Situation.
it. That's why she's
No,
doing
I
it.
know,
100%. It's the right thing to do.
Somebody
It's
use
good to
your
be thinking
email
about
and
this
say,
stuff.
You know, maybe, you know, the town owes me this much money. Anyway,
I do think it's worth asking Claudie. Let's pretend that.
Asking her what you're taking. What if you take your girls in? Not. What if a board member refuses? What we do about that?
yeah.
Right. They get elected. They're like,
Good question.
dude, I just barely got this email address. Like, I don't even use computers. I'm 9 years, whatever. Like, I don't think you can force them to do it. And what happens? You just not pay them a stipend? That seems harsh for not getting an email address.
I don't think that's harsh, but maybe that's my. If you don't want to follow the
Because all
rules,
they
then yeah, you don't
but
get
all
the
they had to
benefit.
do was maybe they hate the rule, right?
Well,
Like,
that's
yeah,
you know what? I really hate that. It goes to 25 miles per hour in certain sections of 15, and I still could get pulled over and get in trouble for.
Hey, how many tickets you got in your life? Really?
Just,
Yeah.
I got
I'm just a girl.
I've seen you drive. I'm
just a girl here.
You are a strong and empowered woman who is responsible for her own actions.
Who just really likes driving her GTI real fast. None in the state of Vermont, though. So there you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
The other thing I'm concerned about in terms of the violations is, if you did have a .gov and you did get phished and the town did lose a substantial amount of money, I don't know about reimbursement for damages. I mean, in the course of doing their job.
Well, but it says may, and I feel like if it's, you cost us $150 because you, whatever. It's may, so I feel like you would come to the select board and be like, no, I knowingly did this thing trying to use the town credit card or something or whatever. I knowingly knew this was stupid to do it and it burned the town. Yeah, we're gonna take $100 out of your paycheck. If it's $3 million, we're not taking your house. No. That's just, it's all wasted.
We don't clarify that.
Like what would be to the May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
May was all the disciplinary. You know, an honest mistake is an honest mistake.
But if I were deliberating right now, someone were before us, and I were deliberating, and I read that, I'd say, yeah, it says may, and we're choosing not to. But if I suppose the select board at that time felt like, no, you cost us $5,000, and you knew full well what you were doing, and we're taking that out of your pay. Because it's like the discretion, the may is the discretion. That's just my thinking.
So, got some things on my list. Table it for now and we'll bring it back.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay.
What are the VLCT nominations?
We're nominating Catherine for a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, those nominations. Yes, I did read that. Okay, Catherine and Sabina.
Mm-hmm. Do we just have to eye this, or do we have to talk about it? Or?
Yeah, and maybe we should, for the public record, who wants to? So, I'll read it. What's before us is to consider sending the following letter of recommendation to the VLCT, who for a I think it's called a Lifetime
Achievement Award.
Lifetime Achievement Award. I'll read it for the record. The town of Jericho Select Board heartily endorses the nomination of Catherine McMains for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Catherine McMains has been active in Jericho, Vermont's local government for 25 years, including serving on the select board for 6 terms. She began her municipal service with Jericho's Development Review Board in 2000, where she served for several years as chair. In 2007, while still in that position, she was appointed to fill a seat on the select board. She ran for the position and was voted into that position in 2008, and every election since then. In 2009, she co-founded the Jericho Energy Task Force and currently serves as chair. The Jericho Energy Task Force has organized several energy tours and button-up events, sponsored middle school poster and annual icicle contests, and hosted a popular winter movie and lecture series. The group also sponsored electric vehicle presentations and collaborated with the Chittenden County Regional Planning Commission to create an enhanced energy plan for the town. In fall of 2025, they held their first Repair Cafe, a free community event where people can bring both broken items to be repaired by volunteers. She has also organized the rotating art exhibit at Jericho's Town Hall that features artwork from students at Mount Mansfield Union High School. I think it's
More than that.
It's more than just the high school, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look, I would say if anything, this letter isn't strong enough, and that would be my only rejection of it. Is I don't think that we did Catherine justice.
Isn't she also the representative to CCRPC?
Yeah.
Like amongst
Right.
other things, I want to.
Do you want to send the letter and send? I don't know. I don't want to just keep. I don't want to punt everything down.
Where did this come from? I'm not against it at all, but
the
like,
packet.
where did this VLCT nomination?
I wouldn't bet too. I assume it was. I'm assuming it's Paula. I didn't previously know about it.
For whoever brought this to us, I think Catherine needs more. I would be happy to help edit and rewrite and give her more if that's helpful.
I think the question is, what's the deadline?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can figure it out.
And the letter we have is from Paula.
Okay.
The letter to the select board asking us to do this is from Paula. Can someone else read the one for Sabina, please?
The Town of Jericho Selectboard heartily endorses the nomination of Sabina Ernst for the Municipal Service Award. As noted in the nomination, Sabina has been an active and effective champion of local government for many years, serving in multiple roles, both as an appointed official with partner organizations. Her contributions have made the community a better place with a brighter future. The Town of Jericho Selectboard heartily endorses the nomination of Sabina Ernst to the Municipal Services Award. That's just a second typo paragraph.
Yeah.
That is a total copy paragraph. Beyond the many volunteer roles she has taken on, Sabina brings a thoughtful, collaborative, and solutions-oriented approach to every project. She has earned the respect of fellow volunteers, municipal officials, and community partners by building consensus, seeking out expert guidance, and tackling complex challenges with both enthusiasm and professionalism. Whether advancing housing solutions, protecting natural resources, improving public engagement, or simply stepping in wherever help is needed, Sabina consistently demonstrates unwavering commitment to the people and future of Jericho. Her willingness to devote countless hours in service to her community exemplifies the spirit of municipal service this award is intended to recognize. That has to be edited too, because we have double paragraph there, but.
I feel like I'm being very cantankerous or argumentative. And I think Sabina is amazing. Why Sabina and not Joe Flynn or Susan Brzee? Or I'm not arguing, like, and it's coming from us. And I feel like if Joe came to me and said, like I've done all this stuff. And Joe, if you're watching, I do not think you do this at all. I'm just thinking of someone who's done a ton for the town. I feel like we should have a process for sort of how we nominate somebody or put someone up for this.
Right, I agree that since it's coming from us, we should be part of the process to decide who.
And maybe staff met and was like, oh, here's what we want to do. But it feels like it's coming from us.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like I don't mean to push back on.
I don't want to
pushing
snap
back on
Sabina,
everything that
but
happened
yeah.
tonight.
Right.
But
I feel like I'm pushing back on everything.
Yeah, everything. We're punting everything because Paula's here.
I can't find the deadline for the LCT site.
Well, so
it goes out. It happens at the town fair, and we just got an email at the town fair.
Yeah, October. Usually,
I think it's October.
October, right?
one option might be to approve these or amend and approve because they're both deserted, but then change the process going forward so that we're part of.
I've never heard of one of these before.
You nominated Catherine last year.
Oh, that was for this? I did nominate
your email nominating Catherine for this last year.
No, I did. You're right. I did do that. I didn't remember the title. Yes.
This is amazing.
I got an email from you asking me for money and nominated Catherine.
He did write the check and
And I wrote the check. October 7th is a town fair, so I imagine, I'm not sure what that means for the turnaround time. But I think Chris's idea is totally fine too.
I think that's fine. I think if
So then that letter of Catherine that's not strong enough may have been what I sent last year.
we'll work on that. We have
Yeah.
a performance improvement plan.
I thought it was a pretty good write-up.
So do we want to approve these as this Sabina one as amended?
I think we have to amend them. I think we want to approve them in concept and then amend them for offline approval.
It was not the same thing.
You said it. I didn't say that. You said it was. Oh, you mean the same award? Yeah, it
It's
was.
not the
Oh,
same
we're gonna
award.
fight. This is what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna fight.
Municipal Service Award. Champion of Local Government, Municipal Service Award. This is Lifetime Achievement Award.
It's a different title for this. If you go to the town fair, you would see that several awards are given, which I and Susan and Sabina were all at last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have that stupid job thing.
Well, that's on you.
Yeah.
I like your idea of approving concept
Yeah.
and amend.
Yeah.
And
I would make a motion to approve the the,
What if you did this? Approve the nominations.
that's what I was looking for.
And then
Approve the nominations and request Amy to go through and
the letter.
and adjust
draft a letter.
All right, better, thanks, yes.
Okay.
Second motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. So we can't sign right now. We
So,
don't sign.
Donna, just to be clear, that was a motion to approve the nominations of Sabina and Catherine
Yes.
McCain, and asking Amy to clarify,
Draft
the
it.
letters a little bit.
Draft the letter a little differently. This goes back in the folder. Thank you. Okay, thank you for working through that, everybody. Nice work. Next is approved liquor licenses. Does anyone have that?
Oh my god, I have it. I make a motion to approve the liquor licenses for Griffin Riders LLC on July 29th, August 8th, August 15th, August 22nd, August 29th, September 5th, September 20th, and September 27th.
What's the middle one? I'm just kidding.
I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Right, look at us. Wastewater Task Force. We're meeting next week. I don't think we met this week, or if we did, I missed it. For like the subcommittee. I don't think we met. So I'll have more on that. It's coming along nicely. We're starting to have some costs that we're looking at. We're starting to nail some things down. Kate wants to do another meeting with the school and talk to the athletic director and pull him into the conversation to talk about what the fields might look like, as well as kind of incorporating. I think what she's hoping is Du Bois and King could be there too, so that they could be like, okay, what would this look like if we did these two, like the two areas we're looking at are right under the fields, as we kind of thought the whole time. What would it look like if that was raised? How would it, just having that conversation with that athletic director.
But that work has been built into the estimated budget.
I don't know. We need that from Du Bois and King.
Yeah.
They talked about doing it with fill, but I'm like, well, you can't just fill that. You have to fill the whole thing.
Right.
I don't know that they've given us what that looks like.
Okay.
I don't think they have.
No, I know they haven't. I mean, I haven't seen it. I guess it's possible
They've got it, but they haven't.
But I think in order to do that, I think they need to talk with. They want to talk with the school to how much can it taper, like some of that kind of stuff. So we'll hear a lot more about that next week.
And I had next meeting, you mean? We got you.
We'll hear about it
Yeah.
at the task force next week, and then we'll have more updates at the next select board. Did you have anything?
Yeah,
on
I
the
have.
task force.
Yeah, I do. The outreach committee in our conversation has been talking about, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. So we've been talking about like reaching out to different levels of people in town. So like the high school or the middle school, or all the kind of business in the area that we're engaging with. And then for we've been going out doing presentations to all of the town committees and the Lions Club and the Transition Towns group, and kind of all the towns to kind of get people talking about it and knowledgeable about it. And the next round we're feeling like is to bring the select board up to speed on CHIP, so that we can understand it, know what it means, know how it works, what are the benefits, what are the risks, kind of all of that. And I asked Samantha Dunn if she would come and do a CHIP 15-minute CHIP presentation and question and answer, because we're going to need to, everything is obviously provided we get to continue to have this process. We need to all understand the financing, and CHIP is a big piece of it, and we need to be able to talk about that and explain and understand it.
Can you ask her as part of that? I would be interested in how CHIP scales. I would be interested in how we can use it beyond this project, in other parts of town.
Yeah, that'll be part. That'll be part of it. The fact that we can. That'll be part of the process and part of our explanation. I think, because we've talked about, maybe the wastewater is actually 3 chip projects that are.
Or if you're doing like a duplex somewhere, does it scale down to that level? That's my question.
Oh, yes, I think it does. But yes, she can talk about that for sure. And then the other piece is that and Samantha is not available at either of our September meetings. So she asked if October was okay. And I talked to Kate and Chris Shaheen, and Susan, and they all thought October was fine for timing. And then unrelated to that, the 90% PER should be coming out in October. No, it should be coming out before that. Do we have it yet? I haven't seen it, but it's due any moment now, I think. And
I feel like every time we ask more questions or like,
right,
I feel like this next thing that I just described, I assume is going to delay that. Yeah.
Kate McCarthy did say that she thought that when I was talking to her about Samantha Dunn in October, she said, I'll put your radar that the 90% report will be done soon, and that needs to go to the select board to decide what's going to happen from there. And she said that that's a different thing what Samantha's doing, and probably would be good on a different night, so it's not like sort of too much wastewater all getting mixed together, like 2 kind of discrete things. One is chip, and then separate conversation, 90% report. So those are the 2 things that Samantha, I'd like to get her on an agenda in October. I know the capital plan is also happening in October, so that's all kind of a lot of things going down, but
And budget season starting.
And budget season starting up.
I am possibly not here October 1st. I will confirm that.
Are we having a meeting now?
Well, that's the first.
Yes, that's the first.
That's the first one? Okay.
It's one of those 5 Thursday months.
But if it was
The only time I get a
chip project, chip thing, like an educational thing, you could still watch the video afterwards and maybe give questions ahead if you have like your question about scalability.
Yes.
Like we'd be able to ask questions live.
Or if it was her, I would send her questions.
Send her questions ahead of time. Yep, exactly. Or give it to one of us or whatever to get your question to answer ahead of time. To get your answers on the conversation ahead of time. So that's what I had was those 2 things for October.
Cool. General select board updates. We got Amy.
Farmers market was really great last week. I'm sure Peter, you have some other thoughts too, but I don't know, 10, 15 people stopped by asking about wastewater specifically. I would say it was great turnout. Really great time. The capital planning meeting today was postponed, so we're going to try and meet again at the end of this month. There were just a bunch of conflicting schedules today, but other than that, I don't think I have too much.
Where's the farmer's market schedule posted? I can't remember what days.
Laura has it. It's in an Excel sheet.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
No, if I'm telling you, I think it's September. You're the one in September, I think. Because I might want to ask you if you want to trade with me.
And I'll send you everything you need to know.
Yeah. It's really a lot of
Well,
fun.
do you want to open it up real quick and just look at it? And if you guys,
Well, yeah.
Peter, we kept all of the rocks that you found. They're in the basket still, so I'm gonna have to hunt for more rocks.
you.
Here we go.
All right. The next one is September 24th. Peter is opening.
Isn't it August 27th?
No.
I have 2 Peters on September 24th.
Yep.
I'm doing both shifts.
But it's also August 27th.
Oh, I skipped August 27th. Sorry, I'm already in August. August 27th is Chris.
August 27th, okay.
Yeah.
And it's Chris and nobody else. So that means you're there the full time.
Yes,
Does that work for you?
that works. Happy to have someone join if they want, but that works.
Yeah, October 8th. October
And then
8th.
Chris, you're also
I show up. What time do I show up?
It starts at 3.
But you have to be there at 3.
Starts at 3:30. You need to be all set up by 3:30.
Okay.
And then you can't take down
You
until.
can't take down until
It's 6. Yeah, like at 6 when it closes.
Can't begin closing at like 10 of 6.
It goes to 6:30.
Yeah, no, so you gotta get there at 2:30 to be set up by 3.
And then, yeah, it's 6. That's 30, yes.
And then
Oh,
Hold on.
It ends at 6:30.
Yeah, it's usually going.
It's 3 to 6:30.
Sometimes stop in for a minute. For
Yeah, I was gonna say, when are you doing bread at the Jericho Market?
Yes, that's right. I'm looking at the farmer market is 3 to 6:30. You show up at 5:30,
I'm
you
doing
get all your stuff set up. You're set up at 3, you can't shut down until 6:30.
Right.
We can.
And I
We'll
would
start back. We,
offer to come and help, but I'm gonna be out of town, so I apologize.
What was my, I have another day.
You also
Yeah.
have October 8th, just the setup part.
Plane's 9.
oh, okay, all right.
October 8th, you're setting up at 2:30 and you're done at 4:30. And Amy is gonna be
I need to get a good
Um,
recipe.
picking up at 4:30 and closing out the whole thing.
I have to play a little bit.
But all
you
the
know,
stuff is in this closet here.
Your starter too, 'cause it's out, right?
You can pick it up anytime.
Okay.
Okay. Laura, updates?
So regarding the Jericho Town Library MOU with the town, I did get a lot of suggestions from Brian Stevens, town treasurer, which were really helpful, and I incorporated most, if not all. So it is back with the attorney. And hopefully then we can present it to the board of trustees, of the library.
Cool. Thanks for driving that. I know that's not a
It's
easy.
a long process.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's
As
very
in
complex.
learning,
Yeah,
public libraries and boards,
yeah.
there's lots of laws.
Cool. Peter, update?
The radio, the WJRVU, that's not what it is. I apologize, Angelica, for not knowing it. They want us to do a radio show.
No, yeah, we need to do that.
To record this.
But there are, and Beth Esmond offered to come and help us record that.
Well, they speak into here.
No, press. Don't touch it. I'll press the button. You just, when I say talk, you talk. And when I
think that's all we need.
Yeah.
I would love to do that again. That'd be fine.
there are only 3 of us at the time. Right? When
Yeah, last week it was pre-us.
On the select board, there were only 3 of us on the select board at the time, just you, me, and Catherine. So it could be anybody, wouldn't need to be, doesn't have to be me, could be somebody else. And
What do you mean doing the radio?
It's just,
Do a little
it's like
podcast.
it's like a 20-minute, just, hey, what's up with the town? Oh, we're talking about, so we
Talk about wastewater.
That's the wastewater. Like, oh, people should know this and this.
We got a new
and
town
this and this,
administrator.
and we got a new town. Yeah, just like, what are we jotted down like 4 topics that were just like stuff that were in the mix then.
It was amazing.
Press recording, press record.
We forgot to record, but it was.
No, we pressed record.
We did.
And then we talked about I think our wives for a little bit, and then we turned off the recording and it's
We talked about personal stuff. Don't want anyone to know about.
Exactly. You did that. Then we paused it and talked about the town really well.
Yeah.
And then we started recording, which was me realizing, oh crap, we didn't record the last recording.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that, but I would be genuinely happy if somebody else said they would.
Is that a regular, like, quarterly thing, or?
I think they would love.
They would love that, yeah. And it would be great, honestly,
Yeah.
to just have that out on the radio, like every 3 months, have a
We should
thing.
take 2 of us and after each meeting, record, if our meeting's gonna go to 11 every night, be like, well, Chris, what do you think about that meeting?
Like, break it down.
Yeah.
Like, no, at minutes,
ESPN.
like minutes 42, I noticed that Chris seemed to lose interest in the conversation. I felt like it's 5%, 10%.
Oh God, play-by-play of our
That would be
meetings.
fun.
That would be cinema.
Just like
That would be incredible.
Sam,
Eric is really committed to this thing.
Eric really doesn't want a town email. He's very upset. Furious.
That'd be good.
Also, before I forget, our stationery says Jericho.gov. So yeah.
And what's the website?
Jericho.gov. Yeah, exactly.
Website does work.
Our station, but the agenda says jericho.vt.org.
Yeah, but the stationery says .gov. Oh.
That's the station, though.
Oh. Do we have 2 stationaries? That is
It's different.
That's a different. Also, as like a perfectionist, I have problems with where this header is. It's wrong.
I would agree.
Yep. That's fine.
Yeah, redirect, yeah.
Redirect's not great, honestly.
What?
The redirect is not great.
No, it's almost like Google does it for you. Like, because
No, it's not. It's not. Or at least my side is not. It's just.
Because mine went
What do you
to
think?
mine went to no page found, and then
Oh, really?
sat there for 2 seconds, and then redid the work. So it's almost like Google.
What's the? What are your emails? Your emails are .gov.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
you
the-
could see the old page for the second verse. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an embedded.
Yeah. Yep.
We did it on Linux. How nice. That's
Yeah.
great.
Okay. So radio show. Does somebody want to do that?
I'll do it. I feel like
You do the
I
first
should
one and
do
then
it
we
one more
rotate.
time.
We'll get it right. Okay, we'll do it once and get it right.
Get it right, then
And then
rotate
these
for
guys will be
us.
like, "Oh wow, I want some of that fame." And then
Jericho fame.
Okay, so Eric and Vita will do the Jericho show. Roll back to the show that never happened.
Oh, look, there's.
Aww.
Thank you for your support. We're gonna need help with recording. We'll give you a call, Aaron. And then I had a couple questions. Do we want to announce Laura Durham on Front Porch Board? We want to have like a thing, we already kind of had the open house during the interview process, but we want to have like, now she's the real deal. She's here. She's working for you all.
Maybe
So
not like an open
we need
house
the
the first
town.
day.
No,
but,
absolutely
like,
not.
I would say, yeah, I would think a front porch forum post. What is her first day? The 24th, like on the 24th or 25th, just to be like, welcome.
Yep.
And maybe when she wants to come to the farmer's market on, just, she doesn't stay the
On the
night.
27th.
On her-
26th.
Yay.
yeah,
I would welcome her.
yeah,
That would be great, actually.
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Somebody has to remember. I can probably remember to ask her.
Ask who.
I don't want to ask her right now. Laura.
We'll have one more meeting before she joins.
Okay.
So let's just.
I believe you will. Yeah, I understand.
Okay, we got an email about, this is a question for Paula. We got an email, you and I got an email from Bernie about the bollards on Jericho Center. And I said, you should talk to Paula about that. I was gonna ask her if she heard from him and where it all went, whatever.
The email was regarding,
Just
conceptually, is it about the traffic calming?
it is, has Jack Evans from Local Motion and Cody from Bike Ped report back on the traffic calming recommendations. And I see that posts with reflectors were installed on Brown's Trace in the wide green belt, but not in the narrow green belt, like in front of 39 Brown's Trace. The narrow green belt is a greater safety issue. I frequently see tire tracks, et cetera, et cetera. Please consider at least bollards for these narrow green belts. Safety.
Can we reach out to Bike Ed and Local Motion, and I would be happy to do this if we think it's a good idea, but I just feel like we need feedback from them about the traffic calming in Jericho Center.
Whatever happened, so there was a meeting, there was like a gathering there. And what happened
Oh, yeah,
after that?
we
Like
met.
June 10th or
Local
something.
Motion was here,
We met here.
and then they
And
were
we're
gonna go.
We're gonna be at Jericho Center at 10 a.m. or
Yeah,
whatever.
what did happen with
With
that?
Veronica.
I know they did it. I don't know much about
But
it.
I'm hoping we are going to get some suggestions from them. And I'm thinking also ahead of the striping of the pavement, the new pavement.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be out ahead of that if we could.
So is the question to ask Paula to contact Local Motion or for one of us to contact Local
Ask,
Motion?
ask for an update.
So yes,
Yes, Paula, or yes, one of us.
I think we just asked Paula for an update on where we're at with that, and are you taking these notes that are gonna go to Paula? Or do you
No,
want me to?
I'm putting notes just so I don't forget.
Okay, because I feel like I'm gonna owe Paula like a list of things that she normally does, right? She sits here
Yep,
taking notes,
yep.
and I haven't really been doing that.
but I would be willing to reach out to them if that is appropriate or helps.
No,
But
it's town administration. Do that. I'm trying to be more mindful of what's the town administrator's
Okay.
job? Like, what's the staff's job and what's
Yeah.
my job?
Okay.
Then I had a question about Silly Hill Dam. Where are things at with that?
I do have an update there. So, the property owners blocked access to any further studies. So it's stuff. So they blocked the environmental researchers from accessing the land. And so the Winooski and RCP canceled the study. I did have.
This was the rehab study. Right, because here's how you would destroy it.
Right.
Here's how you would.
They did some stuff desktop, but none of the studies.
Fix it, do nothing, and repair it. No, sorry. Destroy it, do nothing.
You got it.
Remove it, do nothing, and then we said, what about repair it?
Right.
And then they went out to do the repair, to look at the repair, to talk about repairing, and the property owner said you can't come on the property.
Right. So we will not get any results back from that study. It is not happening because of the blocking of.
I thought the property owners wanted the study to repair it.
So I don't know exactly how it went down. What I heard was that there was a meeting with is it NRCP? Winooski NRCP?
Natural Resources.
I think it is NRCP. So I think he met with them, and after that meeting, the landowner said you can't come on our property, and so that the email I got from him that's what it said. It said they are not providing it. They're not allowing access through their property, which ends the study. So that's the official. That's what I have officially from that. I did have a conversation with Karina, who thinks, okay, well, that's very unfortunate, and she kind of understands where it's at. She thinks the town still needs to understand the ownership, and we need to understand the liability.
Who owns it?
We don't know.
Yes, thank you.
Because if the town owns it, the town would have to have the right to figure out how to maintain it.
Yeah, it's unclear who's got the, like, if it fails, who's liable? Is it us? Is it and so when they presented this to us, I do remember asking the Conservation Commission to help us answer that question.
Of who owns it?
Yeah. So she thinks
How did this all start? It started with the Conservation Committee, yes.
Yes, they came to us and said, hey, we want to apply for a grant to do this study, to review this dam. And then people came in and said, we really are concerned that you're going to take it down. We wanted to, include a repair option. We worked hard to make sure that it did include a repair. I'm skipping lots of meetings with this, but.
Doesn't the state have a role in the waterways? I mean, the state doesn't allow you to change a waterway. And so if there's an existing dam, I would think the state would have some say over that.
In reading between the lines too, is this because the Natural Resources Group, their intention is not to repair a dam ever? So we're asking the wrong people for something.
No, I think my understanding, which is zero, is that dams are bad for the wildlife.
Yeah.
And so the Winooski NRC, whatever the group is called, generally wants dams to go away because it's better for everything, better for all the animals. And so they come in and do a study and they say, if you do nothing, here's what will happen. And if you remove the dam, here's what will happen. And then people came in and said, what about fixing it? And so we said, please add that to it. And they didn't. And then we said, when they gave the report, we said, like, hey, we asked you to do a repair, and they found a grant to do the repair study. So they're like, okay, great, we'll look into that and we'll give you a report.
That's close. We didn't get a report from the first one. We got approval for the grant funding, and it only included the first two. And we're like, whoa. We specifically said this, and then they went and they got funding for all of it.
They got extra money.
I'll read the email. This is from Daniel Koneman from Winooski NRCD. I wanted to provide an update on the Silly Hill Dam study. I went to the neighbors yesterday evening. They are refusing property access to the engineers. Because we do voluntary conservation work, this marks the end of the road for Winooski NRCD and this project. In the coming days, I will work to close out the project and pay the contractors for what work they have done. there has not been enough information gathered to produce a meaningful report, please let me know if there are any more questions. That's it. That's all I got.
And is somebody researching the ownership?
So that's what, so Karina called me after that email and,
Did Karina get that email or do you forward it to her?
she's on it. She's on it. Yeah, me, Paula, and Karina.
So my thought is to reach out to the landowners and say, seriously? And I would say that I personally feel like my thought is let's figure out how safe it is and let's repair it and make it as safe as we can and move on with our day. You guys just undercut the whole thing, and now we have nothing we can do but just ignore it. And that we don't know what the town's liability is, and we may need to like take eminent domain and like take over the whole thing, and because you guys aren't letting us do it the way we wanted to do it, which was like thoughtfully and
yeah. I want to give the landowners a little grace too, just understanding that we had that conversation and then they were approached by the surveyors and they're like, oh, we're just going to talk about how much it's going to cost to bring it down. And then they came to a select board meeting and they're like, that's the last thing we want. We talked about repairing it. So I do think there's a little trust lost, not necessarily on our fault, but like when we do that approach, it's like, hey, remember we wanted to talk about repair.
Right.
We are still invested in repair and maybe even taking like removal out of the equation.
taking what out?
Removal of the dam itself. Like all I've heard from citizens is that they really like the dam.
But I think if we take the removal out, then and our
You won't get any,
they don't-
you won't get any funding.
Yeah. So we're kind of on our own if we want to repair it.
Yeah.
But we need.
Well,
to-
I think this
of a study, we're
Right.
on our, if we say we're not removing that dam, now we're on our own to fund the study.
Yeah.
If we say we don't know, might remove it, we might repair it, we might do nothing. Then Winooski, one of the name of their group, that group might say, okay, if the property owners let us on that, then we'll do the study for you. Okay, and in the back of their heads, we'll convince them about why it's best to remove
I
it.
mean, do we need to put it back on an agenda so that the neighbors can come and say why they shut down?
What I propose to Karina is that we put it on an agenda a little ways out in the future to let people calm down a little.
Is there any, like,
The only thing
if we
left
close it tomorrow, we get the money back so the report can still happen? Or no? Not literally tomorrow, but like, you think that it's a whole new process now? I think we're starting over from scratch.
They had to find extra money for us to do.
Yeah,
a bit of it anyway.
No, I know, but I doubt they've reallocated the money already. We can say like, no, we'll put you on. Give us that money back.
I imagine it's the weather, right? Like it's probably now definitely not a this year thing, which may make the grant, I think that was the challenge, right? Like the grant was
Has a window.
was for this year, and so you run out of time for whatever studies you can do. Like it's all.
Do we know the actual condition of it? I mean, is it imminently going to fail? And because that's,
We were doing a study to try to answer that.
is there anecdotal evidence like there's a big crack in it?
I don't
and
think
it's-
so.
What was the impetus? Was it the condition of the dam?
I think,
Or a group wanted the dam removed because it's bad for the fish?
I think the Conservation Commission went and, I'm not gonna say did a study, but like looked at and thought about it, considered all the dams in town and said like, they came to us, we took down one in the.
We're taking one down now. Yeah.
Or in the, behind Starboard, I think.
That one doesn't have any water behind it.
So I think they went to all of them and sort of said like, oh, let's all these dams to decide what should go, what should stay, what situation is. So that's how it kind of came out of us. Yeah, not that one specifically, but the whole, all the dams as a concept in town.
I would certainly be interested in figuring out the liability, the ownership,
And who
Yeah,
knows?
but that's what Karina's suggestion was, like,
because that's a big deal.
like you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I think we should revisit it. I think we should give people some time to think about it a little bit. I would agree with Peter. I think that it's unfortunate that the neighbors felt that way and that they felt that they needed to block that access, because I think that reduces the chance of ever actually repairing the dam. Maybe there was very little chance of it to begin with. I don't know, but whatever chance there was definitely didn't get bigger because of that.
Winooski's the group Who wants to call it? I feel like it's saying.
National, what? What is it? Shoot. It'd be so much easier if I had a different email address. Not have it on
Winooski
the
NRCP.
Nice.
It seems like it's that the Winooski NRCP is gonna be less likely to come back and say, oh yeah, we'll do a study for you on that dam. It's gonna be like, no, like we know you're not gonna take it down, so we're not gonna waste our money on you.
District is the last letter. Yeah,
Because the Winooski NRCP is, their motivation is in conflict with the neighbor's motivation. Right.
I mean, I think you probably need to be a little careful when you talk about what people's motivations
Sure.
are. Their motivation was to get a grant and do the study.
Yeah.
I think it's probably safe to say that removal of dams is an environmental positive. Or, yeah. As a general rule, that doesn't mean all dams disappear right now. And so you do studies and you think about it and you look at this and you look at so. I still think it was unfortunate that they blocked the access, but within their right, it's their property, so it is what it is.
I have a select board update question.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Oh, so are we gonna look into liability and ownership now, or are we gonna wait a few months to think
What
about
I
that?
suggested to Karina was that we assign the new town administrator that as her first. But like, I don't think there's urgency. It's
But in
been
terms
there
of
for,
timetable, you mean, let's begin figuring it, not today, but let's
Right, I think there are
let's
two
get
things.
that figured out.
I think we need to revisit the conversation about what we're doing.
And that's gonna be
separate
from now.
from figuring out who owns this thing, who's liable, what happens if it breaks, who gets sued, whatever.
The ownership could also determine the process for
Yeah.
the decision.
When this came up, we all were like, well, who owns it? And they're like, well, yeah, that's the thing. It's not exactly, and we're like, okay, well, let's study it, but let's also, right? So
Okay.
I don't know how we figure that out.
So ownership and liability, we're gonna start working on that basically now, essentially, see what we can figure out. And in the meantime, we're gonna hold off on doing anything with anybody about changes. And we're gonna revisit that in a few months.
There is a piece of paper on the table.
Oh,
Is it something we have to do?
probably. There's what else is in there?
We've got this taken care of. That can go on the signed documents thing.
Can you read that, Tom?
Do you need some readers? Notice of Board of Civil Authority hearings. So, and then it's just the list. I don't think we have to do anything. This is just for our info.
I'm not sure it's a neutral piece of paper.
Yeah, I don't think this is important. This is the
Okay, but
817, 818. I think Jessica brought this
What that
in when she was chatting.
should we go to that? Is that-
Yeah, I mean, she signed this.
You're a member of the board, so
Yeah, right.
as a select board member.
I went to one.
How'd that go for you? It's up to each person individually. There's like,
Okay.
there's work to be done. It's not bad this year, like 10 years ago, there were like
You're gonna sign.
35 houses that we had to have a hearing on and go visit, and so like
Not bad.
I thought that.
Right.
And like Eric doesn't go, Captain never went.
Like that.
I was a JP forever, so I've been going for 30 years.
Except when I went, because you were there.
Right.
That's something we need to deal with?
If it was in the folder.
No, I think it was.
You know,
just
it's I
here.
think Jessica, because this is a sign form for Jessica, so I think she just left it in here, but she was chatting.
No, it's good.
I don't know, another thing signed.
There.
I've actually got two more things, sorry.
But you guys said when I wasn't here, oh, the meeting was over in 2 minutes.
When I'm so busy running the meeting and reading my little scripts that I don't have time to.
Oh, I get you. Okay, go on.
I went to a presentation about local option tax. And like to put on the record, Eric is correct that local option tax applies to sales tax for anything that is delivered to where the transaction occurs in town. So you buy something off of Amazon, there's local option tax. It's all overseen by the state. And we would get so we can have a local option tax for 1%. And of that 1%, we get 75%, and the state gets 25%. And that there's a, I can tell you if you care what that money's used for at the state level, but it doesn't really apply to us.
I would be interested for approving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not opposing anything right now, well. What I like about it is I'm front board forum aside, I have for many years not been thrilled with property tax as the only way we have to get money from to run the town. The local option tax, because it applies to sales tax, and sales tax doesn't apply to like food and like basic necessities, feels to me like a more progressive tax where if someone is buying whatever $500 printer on Amazon or whatever, that person I feel like probably has, it's a way from, in my opinion, it feels like it's a way to have people in town who have a lot of money, who have more money to pay a little bit more than people in town who don't have much money and are only buying basic necessities. So it feels more progressive to me as a taxation methodology. There was I reached out to the state and asked, because not as a, I mean, yes, on the select board, but any citizen can do this, and asked them to figure out, to give us an estimate of what it would generate for tax in Jericho. Yeah. And I haven't heard back yet, but there were also like 50 people on this call. So I actually called on the Zoom meetings. I actually called during the meeting, thinking everyone's going to get off of Zoom and immediately call. So I called during the meeting. But I left a message. They didn't pick up because they were in the meeting.
A restaurant too is town meeting.
But you can, you can do, my understanding, I didn't go.
Yes,
My understanding, there's three options,
choices.
and you can do any combination of the three.
That's true.
Room and board, meals, and
Alcohol and yeah.
So you could do like, oh, we only want to do restaurants, or we don't want to do restaurants, but we do want to do. So you can mix it. You can
pick any of the three.
Pick any of the three. And is it only 1%, or could you also do 2%?
I think it's just 1%.
Okay.
But not 100%.
Because I thought like one of either Williston or Burlington, it was 2, but I could be wrong.
So I'm interested in learning more about that.
Yeah.
And and they, I was at the end of the presentation, they talked a lot about what towns have implemented it and kind of how they frame it, roll it out, which I hadn't really thought about, but there's a lot to that. And one of the, not points of contention, but like decision points was some towns say, we're gonna have a local option tax in order to fund wastewater.
Yeah.
And if that's the ballot item, then once your wastewater is paid for, that tax goes away. But towns have more success when they can target it to something rather than just like, we need more of your money to run town. Like the roads cost a lot to fix. People feel like I don't want to pay extra taxes for that. But if you, for example, if you said like, oh, we're going to try and put a rec facility in for the kids or something that everyone loves, but that targeting it that way can make it more likely to get passed.
Couldn't you then create like a fund for something, and this funds the whatever, and it doesn't have to be tied to a specific project, but it could say like, this is the Jericho Community Betterment Project.
Yep, exactly. And the betterment is, for example, yes. So you can fund a large kind of concept almost.
Yeah.
Infrastructure.
I think we should probably limit our discussion on this. It's not an agenda item. I love learning about it, and I'm glad you went to that thing.
And then my last thing, I apologize, was, did everyone go to the PC presentation? Yep. I walked in at 6:30, and I actually stayed at home for a couple minutes thinking, no, I don't want to walk in like right at 6:30 and be like standing around with all the PC members and no one's there. And I walked in at like 6:32 and the place was friggin' packed.
It was busy at 6:10.
It was.
Was it really? Oh, that's great. That's really good.
And I thought, and then I went home and cried over the front porch forum posts about how evil we all are. And I thought,
I need to find that one.
Dude, anything from the last week?
Oh,
front porch forum.
Well, no, I didn't pick up on how evil we are.
I think we're evil. I think it's just
we don't understand. We don't understand. We just want their, like, it was definitely I've definitely heard that we don't understand anything and we're running the town, we're being irresponsible with town's money and we're wasting it.
Yeah.
We're always gonna have one of that though.
Absolutely. And I also, after I was done crying every time, I said, remember, that's like 4 people in town. And there's lots of people who know you're working hard on this, take it seriously, et cetera. But I was thinking, what if we had some sort of budget presentation that was planning commission sent out postcards, they posted on front porch forum about it, they got really good turnout. And if there was a way to, I'm not being facetious, people watching on YouTube, but to use all this genuine and understandable upset about property taxes as a way into getting people to really engage with the budget ahead of time. And they had just the PC had the 7 stations, had a roads station. And here's Jacob is there, and we've got a big poster that explains the road. It just explains what the budget is, what it goes to, what things cost, what the plan is for the next year for the roads, and then town staff, and just sort of lay out the whole budget in a more interactive way rather than just budget meeting. Any questions? Okay.
Is that what we're thinking about for TMRI open house anyhow?
I guess the place to do it.
Like that is the thing.
No, I don't think.
What's successful about the planning commission one, and the few that we've done is when it happens at an early enough stage so that you feel like this one we had just the other night was this is what we're thinking about. Tell us what you think. There's still time to make changes. We're still working on it. So someone's contribution is, they're not getting it after the fact.
Yep.
They're being engaged in a conversation.
I totally agree. I got to think about what you're asking. I think it's part of it, but I think that the open house
We can do other things at the open house.
Yeah.
That can be one of them.
It would be great to tie it into the capital plan, because really these decisions need to be seen in a 15-year lens.
Have we talked about the open house here? We had a meeting since we had a meeting? Have we had a meeting since we had a meeting? That's what we're going to talk about.
But on the capital plan, I'm very interested in having us find a way to make that graphically accessible.
Exactly. And
Because the spreadsheet is incredible and powerful, but wow.
No, I'm the only one who likes
You're the
spreadsheets
only
that
one who
much.
can use it.
Yeah, exactly. I understand you hear that. What I want is to have the spreadsheet, have the data, and then I can make pretty graphs and pretty,
Yes.
here's
Yes.
the 10-year plan. And someone
Yes.
fancier than me can draw pictures to go with it.
So the open house committee met, and the open house is going to be on October 17th from 10 a.m. to noon. And those of us who are in the country or in the town that day,
Will be.
oh, perfect. It will be, I think it's important for us all to be there. And that committee is meeting twice in August. And then we're going to go from there. And we're still kind of thinking things through, but I think that, yes, it could be part of that. I wonder if that's a big enough, I wonder if that would feature the budget enough, or if it's going to be oh, there's this and this and this and this and this. Oh, then there's the budget over there.
It wouldn't be ready yet. Is that your problem?
No. I want it not ready. We want it very much not ready.
I can't think of a reason why you'd have that and the open house. It seems like it has to be at the open
maybe
house.
it's that.
Yeah.
What
What did you say for times on that?
10 a.m. to noon on October 17th.
Okay, I'm going to put it on my personal calendar, but let me know when I have to sign up for a 5th calendar that I'll have to find a way to integrate in. That'll be fantastic.
But my other takeaway from the planning commission one the other night was it was crowded, which was amazing. It was loud, and we could have benefited from more space. And so I don't know what we're thinking of where this open house would be, but
I'm personally thinking of the high school.
Okay. Yeah.
One suggestion was the community center at the high school.
Okay.
Gives us more technology
And also allows us to, one thing we talked about is it's open house for 2 hours, but at 10:15, what I can't think of what. But like at 10:15, there'll be a there'll be a 5-minute presentation about the road crew. So there is at the high school there's ability to do like breakout rooms if we want to have like short presentations that people could attend to, or just ignore and just do the open house thing. Perhaps class I want to go. But the budget's not ready at all. I think it's really open. My vision for the budget thing, like the planning commission, is sort of like, hey, budget time is It's just starting up. We're just beginning the conversation, and come here and learn about what money gets spent on and why everything's so expensive, and give us your ideas on where we can trim stuff.
I like that. You may get some attendance this year.
Yeah,
Something
for
like
sure.
that, right? I've been challenged over the years of like every time, we advertise, we put on the agenda, we post it. Okay, we're going over the budget, and like the formal budget reviews where we went line by line, it'd be like 2 people here.
Yeah.
But another takeaway from the planning commission tonight was there was a lot of just misunderstanding. And when you took the time to explain to somebody, this is what it actually is, this is what the logic behind it is, when they understood that, their minds changed often, just because they didn't understand before. So
There's something about face-to-face stuff, right? Like
And having
if you had written
Yeah.
written any of it, all the words you said to whatever person, and you emailed it to them, it doesn't work.
No, it's the conversation that makes all the difference.
Yep.
And they can say, well, what about, yeah, exactly. So what you're saying is exactly right, but it's actually, this is how it plays out. Oh, never mind. As opposed to I'm reading Chris's email, I'm like, yeah, whatever, PC guy, like, I'm dismissing stuff you're saying along the way, as opposed to being able to ask, well, what about this? You can reframe it or talk, just to clarify.
And you've captured why I'm so sick of working from home.
Okay, one more thing. Just kidding. Sorry.
No, all good stuff. I'm just
I
picking
have
it.
2 brief ones.
Yep.
So the library structural work we're moving ahead. It's a slow process, but it's deliberative and it's going as it should be. We got the survey work from O'Leary Berg, passed that on to the civil engineer for the foundation plan. So that's moving ahead. And heard back from Justin about the Packard Road property. He says the septic would support 2 bedroom duplex. And he was just going to do a double check with Champlain Water to make sure if there were setback issues from the water line, but otherwise it looks like we could do
2 duplexes or a duplex?
a duplex with 2 bedrooms each in each unit.
Okay.
4 bedrooms.
This is the property that was concerned about the stormwater
Yep.
thing, but that's not a problem.
Correct.
Okay,
That's cool.
very cool.
Well,
So we could.
Let me fine tune that a little bit. So once we get to a place where we know what the septic could support, we would then need to go to the state and say, this is our concept. This is how we're going to manage the runoff. Are you okay with it? So there would be another step, but it looks like we could move forward with that.
Cool. I feel like I gave you all the updates I had. I'm glad you reminded me about that Daniel one because I would have forgotten that. The dam study. Okay. No more select board updates. Approve the warrants. We've done that. Approve the meeting minutes. I literally got halfway through reading these and I realized I was late for getting here. So it was like, normally I get here early and was planning on getting here even earlier. So I only made it through about half of them. I did find some issues though.
You started that.
So in the conversation we were having about the tax rate,
What line issue you on?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's like 86-ish. The tax rate stuff is 86.
So, yeah, so Lori reviewed, give me a second. I think it's in the section that, yeah, that starts at 86. There's a bunch of places where she refers to Lori, but I think she means to be referring to Amy.
Was Lori even there?
They were both there. So like, for example, line 115, Amy asked if we can set out that this Amy asked if we could send out an explanation with tax bills. Lori said it may be difficult. I think that should be
sure.
Amy
Morse.
And I think all of the mentions of Lori in this section are Amy and not Lori.
When we're doing the notes, then should we have our full names to deal with doubt, or like Amy K, Amy M? How do we do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where I'm gonna have to talk to, like, take good notes for Paula, or unless somebody else would like to.
I can.
Okay.
Just tell me the lines and what to write.
Yep, so, all right, here we go. I'm gonna start at line 115.
115.
Yep, the first word is Amy. Just add a K after that, capital K. That same line, the next sentence starts with Lori, and that should be Amy M.
Add Amy M. Okay, remove Lori, add Amy M.
Okay, so same thing. Where else?
That's also on 111.
Yeah.
Lori said Underhill's tax bills have gone out.
Yeah.
That should be Amy.
Line 111 should be
Amy M.
Amy M said, okay.
Should we just say replace all the Loris with Amy M's from line?
And that's what I was trying to get at, because I feel like we're gonna miss them if we go line by line. Everything in this section that in the review and consider approval of the tax rate, it was a long discussion. Everything from there to line 136. I don't think Lori spoke. I think it was all Amy
So
Morse.
from line 111 to line
Line 86
Okay.
to line 136.
to line 136.
Replace all the Loris with Amy M.
And the Amy.
And then all the Amy's, well, that's the thing. Some places she got Amy right, the other Amy right.
Did she get Amy right?
Yeah, she got Amy right in one of them. I thought I just saw it.
128.
Consider general, oh wait, it's 128, you're right. No, that was me. I did say.
Well, okay.
I said that.
Okay, so then I think we can do that blanket statement then. Okay, perfect.
So all the Amy's should be Amy K.
And
All the Loris should be Amy M.
All the Loris should be Amy M. And all the Amy's
Should be Amy K.
should be Amy K.
It's not confusing.
All right.
Peter, you should just get your wife to come to one of
Yep.
the sessions.
Yeah,
How-
that'd be
Just say one thing. You take one thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
I stopped reading after that section because that's when I realized it was like 6:08. So that's all I had.
I didn't read them honestly.
I did get through some of the gay Symington discussion, but I didn't have any more updates. Anyone else have any other?
I didn't have any corrections.
I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 16, 2026 meeting as amended.
I will second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Laura. And I'll also ask you to include in your notes that you're sending her the time we go.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of personnel, real estate, and legal. Premature disclosure of the information will be detrimental to the parties involved. Period.
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Donna.
Recording stop.